welcome to the Authors Interview series. My name is Dave Rogers, and today I have Gabriela Casineanu. Hello, Gabriela. How are you today?
Hello, Dave. I'm good. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Fantastic. I'm really looking forward to learning more about your author journey, some of the tips, some of the tools that you've used. Could you, for our listeners today, share a little bit about yourself and why are you writing books?
Very good question. I didn't write books. I didn't know that I want to write books for a long time. So I'm a professional coach with a background in engineering. And at one point, I was doing so many workshops that I got burned out. I'm an introvert. And it's too much if you do daily workshops. So when I was in burnout, I couldn't speak for 4 months. And I asked myself, what could I do the rest of my life if I can speak anymore? Because I still wanted to help people. So the next thought was an idea to write a book. My first book, which became an Amazon bestseller in 7 countries, and it won an award. And that's how I got starting with writing. And then I loved the writing process and having books out there. And I continue to put more books on Amazon. It's my main platform. So this is how I got started.
Fantastic. And when you talk about your latest book, what is the key theme? What's one main takeaway that you would like people to have from your latest book?
I prefer to talk about the first book.
All right, let's do that.
Because that's a biggest book that I wrote. It's more than 300 pages. And one takeaway I want people to have from that book is that introverts are not that shy people. They can't talk. They have nothing to say. They are timid. They have a lot of strengths. And you can use those strengths to whatever you want in life. For example, the first book, it's Introverts Leverage Your Strengths for an Effective Job Search. So instead of using the strategies that are out there that function much better for extroverts, you can use your introvert strengths to go ahead into whatever field you want, whatever position you want, and you can become more successful just by being yourself.
Fantastic. And again, you've started the Introverts Academy and yes, about helping introverts get the right job. It's funny because when I lived in Singapore, one of my best friends is an introvert, and I'm going to introduce you to Charles Chowboon. He's an introvert, and he really helps people become more comfortable in their own skin. If you were to be giving an introvert a couple of tips on networking or writing, what would you be inviting them to explore?
First of all, I share my example. I don't like the word networking. I reframe the same idea and outcomes that networking can give you into what do you need? What information, what resources do you need? Where you can find them? Who can direct you towards those resources and information that you want? So when you start with what do you want, with your own goals and where you can find them, you reach out to people genuinely and connect with them and ask questions and have nice conversations, and you get those ideas and resources, and you move from one person to another, and actually you build that network. So you're doing more strategic networking than what people are saying. You have to network, go out and meet people. Introverts are not very comfortable in new situations, in a big room with more people. So when you start with what do you want, what do you need, even if you are in a situation like this, you reach out to people just to see if they might have the information, if you can help them as well, because a lot of introverts like to help people. So when you start with something related to you, what you're passionate about, you can increase your network and you get the benefits of networking that they are very valuable.
I love what you've done because, again, you're also a coach. So asking people, what do you want? What do you need? It simplifies things. And then what I loved also, the part that you made a nice bridge, is when an introvert is more clear on what they want, what they need, then they can also be more a help authentically. And that genuine, authentic bridge is probably a really great winning strategy for introverts. Is that sort of what you're sharing in your book? And it's also, if you've been practicing it for a while, what were 1 or 2 ways that you learned this or found the winning strategy for introverts?
When I was introduced to the term of networking, I was like shocked because I was doing that without calling it networking. But I was using the approach I was talking earlier. I was just reaching out to people and talking about things that I'm interested in and trying to help other people. And I'm a very curious person. So if I'm going somewhere, I try to figure out who is there, what I want to learn from them. So I already built this process, this strategy in whatever I was doing up to that point when I heard about networking. So this is one thing that I learn along the time, that if you focus on yourself more than on others, especially if you're an introvert, if you focus on what are the things you're passionate about, what are the things you want to learn, you'll meet people in the process.
Very nice. And what would be advice from you as somebody who's not only written a 300-page book, you went through the marketing with Amazon, you got an award-winning book, and you're writing more books. What would be your advice to aspiring authors or people that maybe have a book and they haven't really done much on the marketing side? So a two-part question: advice for the new author, and then the thing that probably you and I know is that writing the book is one step, marketing it and getting a totally different skill set. What would be your advice or guidance?
Yeah, and for me, since I'm talking about my first book, I will combine the answer to both questions. What I did, I realized that, like you, if I'm writing a book is not enough, I want people to read it. So what I did while I was writing it, I was sharing that I'm writing that book. I didn't share the content of it, but I was sharing, I'm writing this chapter, I'm in the editing phase, I'm at the library and they kicked me out at when they closed the library because I was writing the whole day, just being there and doing my research. So sharing the process, because people love that story that is unfolding. You're doing something, but how you do it, what's happening in the process, how do you feel about it? And so I got people following me about that. And when I was ready to launch the book, I started noticing the rank on Amazon. It goes up and up and up when people start buying it. And I was sharing that. It's 3,000 is the top books. It's plus 94 in the top 100 books. So I was sharing that gradually progress toward the bestseller status, and people gain confidence and trust in the book and in myself. And that's when they start promoting it, talking about it. And I use LinkedIn a lot because my book was about job search and introverts. I was searching people who have at least 500 connections through my own network, but also I was asking, do you know introverts who might benefit from this book? So I didn't say, hey, please promote my book. I just put out there a book. It's a very valuable book. I was asking them to help other people with my book. And this helped me because I got someone, a recruiter from States who has 10,000 followers and the newsletter. She's like, I can promote your book. I can even record your audio book for this specific book. I'm like, okay, what do you want for that? She's like, no, we can split the royalties. I'm like, that's great, because I didn't have the money to pay someone to read the book, to create that audio book. So she has the skills as well. So you never know what's happening when you open up. I also, when I was in that process of writing the book, I was searching for a title, and I put in a LinkedIn group about social media marketing. I said, here are 4 or 5 options. What do you think? In 1 week, I got 1,000 answers. And it was amazing. It really broadened my perspective about what I can still put in that book and what title I can choose to attract more people. For example, someone said, don't use introverts in your title because it has a bad connotation. I'm like, that's a good idea, because I want to attract introverts. I'm not interested in those who have a bad connotation about introverts. So it really gave me a lot of ideas how to promote the book. And another tip that is coming from the coaching side, pay attention to your own thoughts about the process, about becoming a writer, because when you write the first book, it's that imposter syndrome. Who am I to write the book? Who will read the book? And for that one, I read a book written by Steven Spielberg. I don't remember exactly the name of the author, but the book is The War of Art. So in that book, he's talking about all these little discussions that we have in our heads that kind of block us from putting out there. And one thing that stuck with me was, if you have something to share in a book, for example, put it out there and let it go. Don't be afraid of who reads it, negative reviews, who am I? You were called to write a book, someone might need it.
Absolutely.
So just go for it.
Let it go. And then what you've done, though, is you've let it go, yet you've also been curious, you've been creative, you've been engaging to allow people to be of service. And as you're aware, people want to be of service, especially if it's authentic and genuine. So congratulations on the progress. Your strategies are fantastic. I'm going to encourage any of our listeners, you might want to rewind to listen to what Gabriela is saying, because some of her strategies, specifically with LinkedIn, doing surveys, connecting with people, finding a common thread, these are winning strategies to allow your message to serve. And so, Gabriela, congratulations. My fun little question is, if we could get your book, like I'll put hashtags in some of the social media, some of the marketing for this video, it's who would you love to have a copy of this book? If it could, anyone in the world that might help your message or someone that might serve, who specifically would you like to manifest to get a copy of your book?
Especially introverts who connect with the topic of my book and who want to help other introverts, because the book is not only about the job search, it's about how to put the job search in the perspective of your career. What do you do right now at this step to build your meaningful career? And it's also contains about a lot of coaching methods that I'm using with my clients. So it presents a holistic approach that you can transfer from the job search to life, to different aspects of your life. So it really helps in a more holistic way. It's not just this, I want a job, give me 1, 2, 3 steps to take it from here.
So what you've done there is you've answered the question very specifically towards your target market. And then again, that is a great mindset. My question's a little bit tweaked in accessing influencers or celebrities who might read your book and share it with a bigger audience. So if we were to reframe the question and say, it's like, who famous would you like to have a copy of it, because you know that they could actually take it to the next level, 10 times, 100 times the marketplace for you? Is there a name that you would love to throw out there today that might even make you a little nervous to say, wow, it'd be great to have this person?
Tim Ferriss.
There you go. Thank you. Tim Ferriss, as you know, I've been reaching out to you lately. We're going to hashtag Tim. We're going to see if perhaps there's a possibility for Tim to have you on his podcast. That would be absolutely incredible. We know that Tim is also an introvert. And so he's into really servicing mental wellness and well-being and some bipolar. And so there's wonderful opportunities that perhaps Tim might hear this podcast today. So that's the way we're playing. Also, Gabriela, we want to invite possibility. You had the courage to reach out. I'm thrilled to connect with you today. What are 1 or 2 ways that people can reach your book? I have a feeling it's going to be direct and clear. Maybe share best way to reach out to you and your book.
They can reach out to me directly at my website. Is my name, gabrielacasineanu.com, or introvertsacademy.org. And my book is on Amazon, on all the Amazon websites. So it's available all over the world.
Fantastic. Gabriela, thank you so very much for your time today. I guess my little bonus question today was, of all the books that you read in the last year, what book would you be recommending to people to perhaps take a look at? Not yours, not mine, yet someone else's that maybe had an impact on you.
I'm going back to Tim Ferriss because his books really helped me, both the 4-Hour Week and the one about health.
Absolutely. Tim's, and again, folks, if you're into creativity, if you're into learning, if you're into growing, Tim Ferriss's podcast, his books, fantastic information, and something that I have a feeling Gabriela and I aspire to be in that energy also, of real amazing service, amazing interviews, and a commitment to excellence. Did you have a final word? Sure, Gabriela, please share your final thought or invitation to people.
I found the name and the author of that book I was talking about earlier, The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. So this is a book that anyone who is creative should read. So you need to get out of your own negative thoughts, of your own beliefs, and go out there and put whatever you want to express in the world, however you want to help other people. So it's not just for introverts, it's for everyone. It's not just for creatives, it is for a lot of people, because a lot of us are kind of blocking ourselves.
Fantastic. Gabriela Casineanu, thank you so very much for your time today. Folks, visit Gabriela, Introverts Academy. If you've enjoyed any of our banter today, any of our feedback, please like, subscribe, join us at Continual Shift. Remember, make shift happen, because in life, shift does happen. And I'm really grateful you had the time to invest with us today, Gabriela. Have an absolutely brilliant week and month.
Thank you.